Okay, here's something I'm really excited to show. This is a brand new mode. It took me a little while to get everything kind of hammered out with it. It's a fully automated mode, meaning there's really nothing for you to do other than select the interval that you want. Okay, what it is called the drifting modes, and I've got 3 levels of drifting. The first thing you do when you turn the system on is you're just going to want to make sure that you have the interval set the way that you want. Okay, you don't have to worry about. The bulb. Only worry about that if you're shooting over a quarter of a second in shutter speed. Remember, shots irrelevant, distance irrelevant, ramping irrelevant, repeat irrelevant. You want it over to reverse. Okay, and then you bring that down to drift. And once you're on drift, you can choose from drift 1, drift 2, or drift 3. And what this basically does, and I'll show you an example of this, it's just going to move the carriage back and forth. Each time it switches direction, it's going to go a random distance with a random ramp. And it just kind of gives it the feeling that it's just kind of like swaying back and forth in the breeze or whatever. So it might be something kind of useful. Drift 1 is probably going to be the best if you're up close to objects, like pretty close. Because that's only going to move from, I believe, let me check to be 100%. Drift 1 is going to move 1 to 3 inches. And it's going to take 60 images per inch. So if it only moves 2 inches, that's 120 images. So it's still going to give it a nice lazy back and forth. It's not going to move very far at all. And then if you want drift 1, just put on drift 1, hit start. If you want drift 2 drift 2, that's going to be a little bit more. It's going to move between 2 and 6 inches, and it's going to take 30 frames per inch. So that's going to give it a little bit more movement. It's going to travel a little bit further, just give it a little bit wider of a range. And then the last one is drift 3. Drift 3 is going to move between 3 and 9 inches. So this is the largest amount that's the biggest amount right there. You don't want to go a whole lot more than like 3 to 9 inches simply because with Chronos, I've only have a 39-inch rail with 36 inches of travel. So normally what I'll do is I'll set the carriage, as you can see like this. I will set the carriage out to the middle of the track if I'm going to be running a drift mode. Then I just put on drift, whichever one you want. Okay, drift. So put on drift 1, hit set, put on go, pick a direction. That's it. It will do this indefinitely. The limit switches are still good. It'll still stop it. So if it runs into the end, it's going to stop moving. However, if it's going to go the other direction, if it hits this end, it's not going to stop the routine. It's just going to stop the movement. Eventually, it'll shift directions and it'll start to pull away from here. So it'll keep going, but you want to pay attention because you don't want it to be like bumping into the sides and everything. But so far, I haven't had that happen. So that's drift in a nutshell. It's simple, it's easy, and this goes with the idea that I have that it doesn't have to be a ton of movement. We see a ton of movement on hyperlapse. We see your standard dolly moves. The whole idea behind the movement is to give it kind of a 3-dimensional feel and give a little bit of an organicness to it. Sometimes the dollies are a little bit clinical in the way that they move, and Chronos can be very much the same. It's just very solid movement. So this is actually just supposed to almost give it like a gentle blowing in the breeze type thing. So I'll go ahead and show you an example of the 3 drift modes, and it's just something else to have in there in case you want to use it. Remember, drift is found in reverse right before you hit off. And you got drift 1, drift 2, drift 3. Pick whichever one. Start, move, go, pick a direction, boom. And it's just going to sit there. It'll go back and forth indefinitely. It'll actually max out after 10,000 shots. It'll quit. So that's probably good to know, just in case you want to go 50,000 shots. It's not going to go that far. All done.